first, police in Chennai detained and later booked Tamil Nadu's leader of the opposition, Udayanidhi Stalin, today. The arrest took place after the cops first detained Udayanidhi for questioning before booking him on charges under the BNS Section 192, which deals with giving provocation with the intent to cause a riot, and BNS Section 352, intentional insult with the intention of provoking a breach of peace. However, later in the day, the Madras High Court ordered the police to release the DMK leader on station bail. In fact, the charges filed against Udayanidhi were to do with allegedly distasteful comments made by the former Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, believed to be in reference to actor Trisha. The incident in question took place at a public meeting yesterday when Stalin Jr. was addressing the Karnataka-Tamil Nadu face-off over the Cauvery water issue. And this was when Udayanidhi took Chief Minister Vijay's name, after which the crowd began chanting the name of the actress. And that's when the senior DMK leader delivered a one-liner that ended up having him arrested earlier today. Now, for more on this story, let's go over to Times Network's Varshini, who brings us the latest with regard to the situation.
A massive controversy and a lot of commotion we've been witnessing in the state of Tamil Nadu since today morning as the police arrived at the residence of the leader of opposition Udayanidhi Stalin to arrest him over complaint filed against him by TVK Women's Wing in Tanjavur over his speech and his remarks indirectly speaking about actress Trisha and speaking ill about women in a protest that was majorly held by the DMK, protesting, demanding water to be released from the Cauvery. A total diversion from the Cauvery issue to women abuse issue, verbal abuse over women issue that has taken place in Tamil Nadu right now, with the leader of opposition Udayanidhi Stalin being arrested and taken into custody by the police of Tanjavur, where he's been taken to Tanjavur right now for further investigation. Meanwhile, we also saw the DMK filing an anticipatory bail petition that was taken up for urgent hearing in the Madras High Court, where Justice Ilantirayan in fact mentioned that he should be immediately released after the inquiry, and the Tamil Nadu government's Advocate General also mentioned that he's only being taken to the police station for inquiry and he will be let out on station bail, which is all about to happen in the next few hours. But right now we are seeing massive protests by DMK across the state of Tamil Nadu. In every district, the district secretaries, former ministers, senior leaders, all are being detained by the police in their respective districts for the several kinds of protests that is happening: sit-in protests, dharnas, road rokos, vehicle rokos, what not we are witnessing in Tamil Nadu today. Therefore, with the Madras High Court judgment to release Udayanidhi, we also saw DMK celebrating the victory, and several politicians from the DMK, including its party president and former Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, condemning the arrest and the unruly behavior by the DVK government. And in fact, we're also seeing the opposition parties supporting the action taken upon Udayanidhi Stalin for making such derogatory comments and cheap comments that he made in the speech yesterday. We'll have to wait and see how this is going to end, but for now, these are the details that we are picking up from Chennai. Vashni Ramu along with Vijay Manish for Times Network.
Well, to put things in perspective, DMK stalwart M.K. Stalin, former Chief Minister there, commenting after the Madras High Court's orders to release Udayanidhi Stalin on bail, with Stalin Sr. saying that the court's orders were in fact a slap on the face of the fascist TVK. Now, to bring us more perspective on this political controversy that's taken on some huge proportions over the course of today, I'm now joined by political analyst Jayant Menkar. Jayant, I don't know if you got to hear what Udayanidhi Stalin said at that public meeting. Thank you so much, firstly, for joining us on South Central. But the fact is that what was clearly a misogynistic comment, one that had absolutely no place to be made on a public forum, has now snowballed into a political controversy. Is that any indication, or does that give you an inkling of just how acrimonious politics in Tamil Nadu have actually turned out to be between the TVK and the DMK? I mean, long were the days of the Jayalalitha Karunanidhi era when this was quite common. But it's been a decade or so of relative peace, only for this to return in a way. Is acrimony back in Tamil Nadu politics, Jayant?
Yeah, you're right. Perfect. Because the thanks that you mentioned, particularly Jayalalitha Karunanidhi episode, in the midnight at the residence of M. Karunanidhi when he was octogenarian, He was arrested and all that, and the road blockade and everything. The dramas went when Vajpayee was the prime minister. Now the same drama, it is fair that with none of the DMKs are in the power, TVK may have some different this thing, but no, it didn't happen, and the same drama is continuing in Tamil Nadu politics, which they have in fact started when the war between M.G. Ramachandran and Karunanidhi started since 1969. It continued till the death of Jayalalitha. There was a sort of, in a way, 5 or 7 years' time when no such incident reported, but otherwise this is something, the common phenomenon that such acrimonious situation is coming up, and I think now again it is started.
Right, and it's not new, right? Even in the last 2 months, it's only been 2 months since Vijay has become chief minister, first time government under the TVK. Already there was a lawmaker who was arrested under charges of defamation. Sendil Balaji as well, the DMK's money bags in a sense for the last 5 years, also being rounded up not once but twice by 2 different investigating agencies under the MLA poaching case, and then again the TASMA case, again before the court had to step in and allow for bail to be granted and prevent the government from going about executing his arrest, and now Udayanidhi Stalin as well. Now I understand that a lot of this may actually divert attention away from those terrible remarks that the former deputy chief minister actually made against the actor in question, that is Trisha. But the fact is the TVK seems to be in no mood whatsoever to give the DMK a go, and is sending every single agency and law enforcement office against the previous party, the previous government.
Yeah, but I have to say something which, I mean, you know, these political personalities or the celebrities, they should also realize what they are speaking in public, because their words can create such a stir, their words can create such controversies. We know that even former Prime Minister Mr. Deve Gowda had virtually abused even on live TV nearly a few years before. Now, such comments, when they are making, they should also realize, being the celebrity, being the public figure, if they are having such ideas, then how can one blame the agitators who may be holed up at some jantar mantar and saying something? How can we blame them? So I think it is a time even for the celebrities and take action against those who are using such bad derogatory words even in public, but not selectively. This is applicable for all.
Absolutely, Jayant. I think we can both agree there that such language has no place whatsoever on a public forum. On that note, thank you so much for joining us and breaking down the political insight to do with the arrest and subsequent release of Tamil Nadu's former Deputy Chief Minister and leader of the opposition. But moving on next, over the weekend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for Hyderabad-based ASIP Technologies' 2,500 crore rupees semiconductor OSAT facility in Visakhapatnam, marking the start of work on what is being billed as South India's first semiconductor OSAT plant under the ISM 1.0 mission. Now, facility in question will focus on outsourced semiconductor assembly and test, the crucial back-end process where semiconductor chips are packaged and tested before being deployed across industries. Now, the project in question is expected to generate around 1,000 direct jobs and strengthen Andhra Pradesh's ambitions of emerging as a semiconductor manufacturing hub. The facility coming up at Tarluvada in Visakhapatnam is being developed in partnership with South Korean firm APACT and will manufacture advanced 2.5D and 3D semiconductor packages for AI data centers and high-speed communication applications. Backed by the ISM, the project is expected to deepen India's semiconductor value chain and position Andhra Pradesh as a key player in the country's fast-growing chip manufacturing ecosystem. To tell us more about the project and what it means for India's semiconductor ambitions and its timeline, join me in welcoming Venkata Simadri, Managing Director at ASIP Technologies. Mr. Simadri, firstly, thank you so much for joining us in South Central today. Good to have you with us on the show. Now, what you are doing in Visakhapatnam is being billed as the South's first semiconductor OSAT facility. Now, why is this project strategically important for both Andhra Pradesh as well as India's semiconductor ambitions?
Sure, Mr. Shiv Prasad, and thank you for having me on the show. I will be happy to address some of your questions here. So, if you look at Andhra Pradesh, after the states separation, with Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, there's not much high-tech industry left in Andhra Pradesh. So, if you look at Hyderabad, that probably hosts the second largest chip design workforce after Bangalore. When it comes to Vizag, there's not much. I mean, there is some IT industry there, but some not much really, high-tech industry there. So our current Chief Minister, Honorable Chandrababu Naidu Garu, he is putting a lot of effort in promoting Vizag, and recently, they were able to, bring Google's data center there. In fact, they are neighbors to us. So this is definitely going to give a good boost to Vizag and in creating the high-tech industry there, and also, boost to the employment there. And coming back to ASIP, right, irrespective of the location, ASIP is going to play a very important role in India's semiconductor mission. See, it is the first partnership between a Korean company, Korean semiconductor company, and an Indian semiconductor company, and it will set an example for any other Asian semiconductor companies looking towards India.
Right, sir. So, if for the benefit of my viewers, do help us understand what exactly will the Visakhapatnam facility actually manufacture, and which industries or customers are you actually targeting?
So we are we are going to focus on advanced packages. We will be starting with flip chip BGA type of packages and slowly transition into 2.5D and 3D packages. And these packages are mostly for chips that go into artificial intelligence, data centers, and high-speed communications like networking and other applications. So that is going to be our main focus.
Right. And can you walk us through the project timeline itself, Mr. Simadri? When do you expect commercial production to actually begin?
So we are targeting the fourth quarter of 2027. We know it is a kind of an aggressive schedule, but we will do our best to meet that schedule.
Right. And how much of the technology and expertise at the project itself will come from your partnership with APAC from South Korea, and how much will actually be developed right here in India?
So the initial wire bond and flip chip BGA technology is going to come from them. And in fact, our Korean partner, SAPAC, they've been in the business for almost 17 years. And they're actually doing quite advanced stuff right now. Their main customers are Hynix and Samsung. And slowly we will also bring their advanced technology to our facility in Vizag. But in parallel, we will be having our own R&D facility here, and we have already signed MOUs with IIT Tirupati, IIT Hyderabad, and we do have a roadmap of doing our own R&D and developing technology here.
Right. And Mr. Simadri, the fact is that semiconductor manufacturing actually depends on a strong supplier ecosystem. What supporting industries do you expect to take form and shape around your facility in Tarluvada?
See, before a chip gets into volume production, it needs a lot of design support. And in India, we have developed, pretty strong design force talent in the last 20-25 years. And ASIP, we are also positioning ourselves as a design-enabled OSAT. So I have been in this industry for more than 30 years with a very strong record in design services. And I do anticipate that the design services segment will continue to grow in India. And also, I'm expecting that even in Vizag, we will start having some design services company and hopefully, fabulous product companies as well. So in addition to that, the other supporting industries like clean rooms, HVAC systems, raw material suppliers, and other maintenance industries, and they're all expected to grow as well in and around Vizag.
Right. Well, lots to look forward to then, Mr. Venkatasimadri. On that note, thank you so very much for joining us and breaking down some of those insights on the new facility. And congratulations again on setting the foundation stone for the project and its immediate future. Thanks again for joining us on South Central. Sir.
Thank you, Shukla. Thank you.
Right, moving on. The Tamil Nadu government has moved the Supreme Court accusing Karnataka of failing to release its allocated share of Cauvery water despite directions from the Cauvery Water Management Authority and the Cauvery Water Regulation Committee. The state has sought the apex court's intervention, asking it to direct Karnataka to comply with the water sharing orders and ensure that the state's due share reaches the interstate border within the stipulated timeline. The legal battle comes at a crucial time for farmers in the Cauvery Delta, where the crore cultivation season depends heavily on timely water releases. Karnataka, meanwhile, has indicated that it will contest Tamil Nadu's plea in the Supreme Court, arguing its own position on reservoir levels and water availability. So with the two states once again headed for a courtroom showdown, the Supreme Court's response could have significant implications for irrigation, drinking water and interstate relations in the weeks ahead. Meanwhile, Kerala is battling one of its worst spells of monsoon rains this season. The death toll from rain-related incidents has climbed to 15, while at least 7 people remain missing as incessant rain has triggered landslides, flash floods and widespread inundation across several districts. Rescue teams, including the NDRF, the State Disaster Response Force, police, fire services and even local fishermen have been deployed, while hundreds of families have been shifted to relief camps as authorities race to reach stranded residents. The worst hit areas include Kottayam, Pathanamthitta, Ernakulam and Idukki, with overflowing rivers and waterlogged roads disrupting normal life. Chief Minister V.D. Satheesan has held a series of high-level meetings to focus on rescue and relief efforts. This even as the Met Department has warned that heavy to very heavy rainfall is likely to continue in parts of the state, keeping disaster response teams on high alert. Shifting focus to retail next, the country's organized retail sector has remained resilient despite inflationary pressures and a slowdown in new mall supply. According to CBRE's Indian retail figures for the first half of 2026, retail leasing across the country's top cities rose 20% year-on-year to nearly 3.9 million square feet in the first half of 2026, with fashion and apparel continuing to lead demand. Even more striking is the role played by the South, with retailers here continuing to expand aggressively across the region despite limited availability of premium retail space. The report shows that Chennai emerged as India's second largest retail leasing market, accounting for 17% of national absorption, behind only Delhi NCR. Hyderabad and Bengaluru, meanwhile, followed with 13 and 10% respectively, taking the combined contribution of the 3 southern metros to 40% of all retail leasing in India during the first 6 months of the year. Chennai's growth has been led by high streets. Hyderabad saw strong demand from fashion and electronics and even food brands, while Bengaluru's leasing was constrained more or less by lack of quality supply than a lack of demand. So joining us now to break down what's driving South India's retail momentum is Ram Chandani, Managing Director for Leasing at CBRE India. Ram, thank you so much for joining us on South Central today. It's good to chat up with you on this show. Let's start with Chennai. It's now India's second largest retail leasing market. What's driving this sharp rise, Ram?
Hi, Jude. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I think, interestingly, if you look at the retail business in India, we've seen steady growth across all the cities in India. And the big focus in the South has been predominantly due to the organized retail sector, with newer malls opening up in most of South India. If you look at Chennai, that's what's really driving Chennai. Apart from the organized retail schemes, you also see a lot happening across the high streets. Larger formats, experiential, F&B, that's what's really driving the ecosystem from a retail perspective in South.
Right. And just staying with Chennai, Ram, the city's growth appears to be driven by high streets as opposed to malls. Is that becoming a long-term trend now? I mean, we've been reading reports about a glut in mall inventory, a sharp drop in new completions. Could this well be a trend that we could see taking form and shape in more high streets coming up as opposed to malls in Chennai?
And this is not a new phenomena. Again, Chennai, if you look at the neighborhood retail concepts across India and lots so in Chennai, if you look at micro markets around the OMR or in even Ananagar, etc., they've been historic high streets across retail, across these micro markets. So that's what's really driving all that high street growth. Obviously, with demand of newer locations and housing coming in these micro markets, there's an inflow for retail activities across these locations. So you will continue to see formats on the high street go in every city, and Chennai has witnessed a fair bit of that in the first half of the year. And this will continue to grow across as the cities expand, as newer micro locations develop and evolve.
Right. Let's talk about Hyderabad for a bit next. The city continues to attract fashion, electronics and F&B brands, at least that's what your report says. What is it that makes Hyderabad particularly attractive for retailers today?
I mean, if you look at the GCC growth across South India, Hyderabad's one of the later entrants who's really driving that GCC growth. And if you look at all the youngsters who are looking at experiential retail in India, are going after locations where you see the ecosystem where the occupiers, the office occupiers are going. So if you look at the experiential retail being curated, not just along large format malls, but along office communities, neighborhoods along the office communities, as well as some of the amenitization areas in these office parks. That's a big driver in some of the newer cities, and Hyderabad's seen a fair bit of that in the last couple of years, and more so in the first half of the year.
Right. And speaking of Bengaluru itself, Ram, your report mentions that leasing here was constrained by limited premium retail supply. Is supply now becoming the city's biggest challenge, and is that likely to be an issue that persists for the foreseeable future in Bengaluru?
Just Bangalore, across India, to develop a mall, obviously acquisition of land, approvals, and if you look at the entire life cycle of building out a mall, it's anywhere between 2.5 to 4 years, depending on the scale and size of these malls. And some of them do get integrated in larger format mixed developments. So when you look at retail and developing a mall, it does take those 3 years. Obviously, there is a healthy demand of mall acquisitions happening, and malls do take time, but similarly along the mall development, you're seeing enough happening along high streets and micro locations. If you look historically, whether you compare an Ananagar or a Begumpet or even a Jubilee Hills in Hyderabad, or you compare the Indiranagar micro market in Bangalore, these are all high street locations.
Right.
And you will see formats evolve every year.
Right.
From an F&B perspective, your apparels, they continue to grow, right? While apparel has been a big chunk of India's asset class, retail formats that's grown, you've seen consumer electronics, you've seen jewelry, and you've seen F&B take a big chunk of that space.
Right, Ram, right. And before we end, Ram, very quickly, since we're almost completely out of time, beyond Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Chennai, which other South Indian city has your bet in terms of the next big retail destination in the South?
I mean, you see a lot happening in Kochi, Trivandrum. The scale is smaller, but again growing. You see stuff happening in Coimbatore. You see tier 2 markets picking up that healthy growth from a retail perspective.
Right. Kochi, Thiruvananthapuram and Coimbatore then, 3 names to watch out for. On that note, Ram, thank you so much for joining us and helping break down these insights. Great speaking to you as always, right here on South Central.
Thank you. Thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap on the bulletin today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and updates from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.